on Governor Schwarzenegger's desk on February 20th. Now I stand here today before you 8 working days after that budget was passed to report to you what the impact of that budget is for us. Specifically for the Calexico Unified School District. The actions of the governor and the state legislature this year have resulted in our having to make cuts equaling $5.1 million before June 30th. This year, we have to cut $5.1 million. Now think about it. The reality is that more than 60% of the year has already passed. And when you look at how budgets are structured for public education, for public school districts, we're no different than most of the other districts in California. 85% of our budget is personnel. It's teachers, administrators, principals, counselors, custodians, school secretaries. They're all people who we have made a compact with that they would have employment for the year. Now again, if 85% of our budget is people, that leaves only 15% for everything else. That's 15% of our budget goes to textbooks, to utilities, to supplies, and everything else. Now, keeping those percentages in mind then, where can a district like Calexico cut and find $5.1 million? We've had to make some difficult decisions, and that's what I want to share with you tonight. Because this year, one of the first things that we did was we eliminated all non-essential spending. I want you to think about it this way. We have, and I asked principals, I want you to make a list of the things that you absolutely need. And then I want you to make a list of the other things that you want that are important, but that maybe you can do without. And so we have looked, and I've said to the principals, the wants are going to have to wait. We can only afford what we absolutely need. Other cuts that we've made, we've eliminated all non-emergency extra hours. We have cut non-essential substitutes. Now, if a teacher is absent, we need a substitute for the teacher. But if a school secretary or a custodian or a counselor is absent, although they're all important, we've had to say that we can't afford them this year. Those positions that were vacant because somebody retired, resigned, moved, took another position, we've frozen them. Only essential positions have been filled. And we're at the point now where they have to be absolutely essential before we can fill them. I suppose one of the good things in the February 20th budget bill is that the governor and the legislature gave us a little bit of flexibility in terms of the use of some of our specialized programs, what we call our restricted or categorical programs. And so what we are doing is we are taking some money from each of those programs, those for which the law allows us to help make up that $5.1 million gap. Now, in addition to those steps that I just outlined, we also have a Budget Advisory Committee. And the Budget Advisory Committee is made up of teachers and administrators and representatives from the classified employees. And they have worked incredibly hard, and they had to look with an open mind at all of the expenditures that the district has made. And they've also looked at the possibility of making some personal sacrifices. Now, we're not there yet, but I have to tell you that the employees that work for Calexico Unified School District have looked very carefully and very responsibly at ways that we can narrow the gap in our budget. Remember that I said that they have even considered, if I may, making some personal sacrifices. And yet, despite our best efforts, we're not where we need to be. I believe that we still are about $1.7 million short of our target if we're to meet our 3% reserve. Now, a reserve is money that the state requires us to have in the event that there's an emergency. Well, folks, this is near an emergency. In addition to the $5.1 million shortfall, I'm terribly disappointed that the state continues to balance its own budget on the backs of our children. What the state has done is they've instituted a system of what I'm calling IOUs. They're deferred payments to the schools. Like all of us who get a paycheck, schools also get money in order to operate. What the state and the legislature are doing is they're saying, we know you need the money, but we're going to give you an IOU. We're going to defer that payment. Let me give you an example. We were scheduled to receive our largest apportionment or payment in February. What the state said was, we'll give you half of that. And we'll give you the remaining 50% in April. But we also get an April payment. And what they said to us is, so sorry, we'll give you your April payment in June. But we get a June payment. And so now they're saying to us, you'll get your June payment in October.